Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Friday, the 19th of July, comes to you from London. And markets bounced back a bit last night, so we see here the green in the indices and most global markets following suit. The dollar actually did fall quite sharply yesterday, so that puts it back in bearish territory with new downside targets. So short-term dollar bearish, medium term it's just starting on the daily chart to look more bearish, but the long-term chart is still bullish. So you have to remember that a lot of these moves are just short-term moves in a bigger trend. The euro jumped on that weaker dollar, and so we're seeing euro looking stronger. And against the yen, we see the dollar falling, and that was happening first yesterday, you might recall. And normally that's a lead indicator. If we look at sterling, we're sitting at 125. We're actually improved against the dollar as well, so that dollar weakness really showing through there. But sterling against the euro also jumping, so we're just seeing a little bit of recovery in sterling. It was sort of at its nadir yesterday, and when things look terrible, that's quite often the time when we see a rebound. Against the Swiss franc, we've also seen a little bit of a rebound to 123. Given we've come from the 130s, that's still quite a fall away from where we were. And against the Aussie dollar, we're bearish still on sterling. Bitcoin back above $10,000, sitting at $10,500 this morning, looking more bullish on that short-term chart. We've got upside targets to 11,700, 13,700 if we can break to a new high. So one to watch there, but Bitcoin recovering that psychologically important 10,000. The S&P 500 index fell back this week below the 3,000 point mark. We couldn't quite get back above it yesterday, but we are maintaining our bullish trend here. We're up about 1/3%, and the Nasdaq was similarly up. So we are seeing an improvement there. The Dow fairly static yesterday, and the Russell 2000 index still underperforming the market and in bearish territory. The futures this morning, the S&P future up 1/3%, the Nasdaq E-mini up by the same amount. Does look like the US market will open higher and end the week on a positive note. Looking at the UK market, we see here the top 100 index up 0.6%. So that's looking better, just not quite into bullish territory on the short-term chart. And mid-caps in the UK actually looking better as well, not up as much this morning. The DAX in Germany up 0.5%. It was hit pretty hard yesterday, so we're recovering some of that loss. And the CAC Current is up 0.6%. Japan bucked the trend. It was down 2%. Stronger yen not helping here. We see a little bit of a dive there, and in the Japanese market, so it bounced up 2%. So we did see a recovery there as well. And the Hang Seng was up 1%, and the S&P Shanghai Index up 0.78%. The Aussie market also was down yesterday, so it seems to be doing the reverse of what most markets are doing. It's had some, the Sensex in India, and then the Aussie market was actually up 0.7%. Brent crude was stronger yesterday after news that the Iranians had detained an oil tanker in the Straits of Hormuz. So we are just seeing oil still bearish on the short-term chart, but we are seeing these jumps in prices when these jitters occur, and WTI also up as well. US nat gas in the doldrums at $2.29, and gold rising further. That Iranian thing just helping push prices higher here, and we're nudging this 1450 level at 1438 this morning. So gold prices strengthening all the time here, and the short-term targets we've got 1475, 1537, 1537. Certainly breaking that $1,500 mark will be significant. Of course, we've got all these upside targets. Gold looking more and more like a dead cert, and silver also looking stronger as well. Of course, we have had an incredible week for silver there. US 10-year yields sitting at 2.04%, so still nudging that 2% mark. Taking a quick look at the stocks themselves, in the Dow, we had in the Dow 30, the best performer was IBM, and they're up 4.5%, so quite a significant move there. And if we look at Boeing, they are down 2.3%, making a $5 billion provision. That is starting to hit the share price. The long-term trend is not yet broken, interestingly, but the short-term trend is, and there's probably more provisions to come from Boeing. Netflix were down 10% yesterday, so that was a significant move into bearish territory on the medium-term chart. And if we look at the best performer, it was Liberty Global up 8%, probably been a bit of a beneficiary from that news. In the Aussie market, we had Resolute Mining, they're up 7%, looking strong, breaking out, looking amazing actually, really running very sharply in June. So, and we've got good upside targets here still. And if we look at the downside, Costa Group Holdings, they were down 2.5%. The chart lurching lower all the time there. In the Indian market, we're taking a look at the Nifty 50. India was down quite sharply yesterday, so there's only overnight. There's only six stocks that were up. MTPC were up 2%. Not enough really to change the long-term picture here. And if we look at the short-term picture there, we had Bajaj Finance down 4.4%. So still looking pretty strong on the chart though. Taking a quick look at Europe now, as we come into the end of the week. The UK market, if we look at Ocado Group up 2.5%. They're still a star performer, really. They've outperformed the market as much as 50% at one point this year and regaining that territory again as we start to come back for recovery. Good upside targets there. Taking a look at the downside, not many stocks down this morning. The worst on the leaderboard, WPP down nearly 2%. That trend down continues. In the midcaps in the UK, we have Acacia Mining Group. They're up 18%, so that's a massive rise there. And if we look at the other end of the scale, we've got Hastings Group down 2.3%. So quite a big move there. Saga still in the laggards there. That trend is still down despite trying to recover. The European stocks now looking the top stocks in Europe. We've got Anheuser the brewer. They're looking pretty good this morning. Not enough yet to get into the long-term recovery position, but we see we've outperformed the market, the Dow, by 25% this year. So looking pretty good there. BMW actually up this morning. Not enough to arrest the downtrend, of course, but most stocks looking pretty strong. The only weak stocks this morning, three of them, is SAP, Nokia, and Adidas. SAP actually down 0.6%, but not enough to change the uptrend in this chart. That's it for today. Have a great weekend. Until Monday. See you then. Happy charting. Bye for now.